Welcome or welcome back to the Jazzy Nation. My name is Jasmine and you probably know me from my expat lifestyle type of videos, but I'm also just your everyday average human who enjoys travel and who has experiences that are sometimes out of this world and really bizarre, but really amazing. So I wanted to share that with you all today. Grab your popcorn or something to drink while I tell you this story about my first time in business class. The first impression I got when I entered this business class cabin was, oh my gosh, this can't be business class. Like, what in the freaking heck is this? It was something that I never really saw or paid attention to. I mean, if you've flown before, you know that on your way to coach, you get to see everybody else relaxing and you kind of go to the back with your blinders on because you don't want to pay attention to other people just like having this elevated life while you are about to be sequestered to the back of a plane and squished like sardines. So I never really paid attention to what business class actually looked like. And at first I thought, yo, like, is this first class? Like, that's how naive I was because I just never had an experience like this before. So loud, so dramatic. You probably can't hear me and I'm probably really close, but we are in a business class seat. Very spoiled. I don't know what to do with myself. Yeah, you should show them your little cabin. It's like enclosed in it. We were lucky that we were able to get our tickets upgraded, so that's kind of how that happened. It is expensive, but you know, long story short, it's worth it. With business class, I was a little intimidated because I didn't see anybody else that looked like me. Frankly, there were no other black people or people of color going to business class with myself and my husband. And the first thing that I always feel when I'm in situations like this is a little bit of imposter syndrome. I always think like, oh my gosh, they're not gonna think that I'm supposed to be here even though on my ticket it says that I'm supposed to be here. So as I'm like, you know, going and checking for my seat, I'm also looking to make sure that my ticket says business class. That's just a super weird insecurity that I have, being a black woman, because I've been doubted a bunch of times as to my existence in certain places and if I should actually be in certain spaces. So it's really weird. It's really sad to think about, but that's just the reality of life. Yes, we get to our seats, my husband and I, and honestly, we were just so giddy. We couldn't stop smiling, and everybody else around us was looking at us like we were crazy little children. Heading home. Really excited. My ears are popping, but almost home. And we were fairly young compared to the other people flying on this particular flight. We were like children basically, and we were just so excited. And me, okay, this is how I travel. Whether or not I am in first class, business class, coach, or what have you, I bring my own snacks because that's just the way that I roll. Sometimes I have a little allergic reaction to certain things, and other times I just like having my own snacks and candies. So yeah, we were those people that brought our own like snacks into our business class area, and it was cool because you see in the clips that we had our own little section where we were able to lay out our snacks and different things like that, and it was just really fun. So as things just started to move along and we took off, it was a super fun experience, and I'm so glad that I got to experience this with my husband for the first time because it was fun. I felt bougie, I felt spoiled, but I also started to feel like, you know, why isn't this something that everybody is able to do? You know, like we all should be able to do these things, but of course, like wealth gaps and things like that make it impossible for everybody to experience an upper class level of traveling. And you know, obviously it makes sense, you know, you're kind of segregated based off of wealth when it comes to traveling, and those that have never traveled ever in their life before, you know, even getting to somewhere like a business class is something that folks are not even fathoming because they're not even able to get on a plane and sit in coach seats. So it's a whole thing, and it's like a whole psychological economic situation that, you know, probably needs to be unpacked further, but this is not that video. I can definitely talk about that in some other video. Food was amazing. I mean, it was kind of weird because I really only had the airplane food that you know, peel off the seal or the foil and then you roll it back, and usually international flights have some of the best foods. Honestly, they do. And I always look forward to eating airplane food on international flights. On domestic flights, not so much. I feel like those are kind of just the ones that they throw at you and they're like, here you go, here's some nourishment. But the food that we got on this particular flight was delicious. And honestly, it probably was the exact same food that everybody else got in the coach area, but they served it to us on plates and with glasses and cloth napkins and silverware and things like that. So it felt really fancy. So it's lunchtime, and this is what the starter looks like. It's a salad with mint dressing and a roll with some butter as well as water, and then gauzier. It's more interesting. I feel like he has smoked salmon with lime and a roll as well. I wonder what that tastes like. Bon appetit. Of course, I watched tons of movies. We went around Christmas time, so it was like a super fun time to actually travel and go home, because it was like the excitement of being in business class plus the anticipation of going home after spending so much time in India and overseas and not seeing family. So it was just a lot of excitement happening at one time. That first flight, yeah, it was really great. And I think it was funny because the flight attendant definitely could tell it was our first time flying in business class, and she was fantastic. She was so helpful. There were things that we didn't know how to use, like our buttons. Like we just were like, I don't know how to lift my seat up. I don't know how to lift the window thingy up. Like, it was just funny, a bit of a mess, but we made it through, and the flight attendant was so helpful, and she, you know, would come through every once in a while, ask if I needed snacks. My husband would fall asleep, and then she'd bring me like extra snacks for me and for him. The snacks were amazing. Again, the food was amazing, but the snacks, there's like a whole snack section that, you know, you could actually get up and go get snacks if you wanted to. At least on this particular flight, you could do that. We were close enough to the snacks where, you know, the woman was like, yeah, get up and get snacks if you want them, or I'll bring them to you, whatever you want. Okay, so that first leg, I'm trying to remember where we landed. I believe it was from India to London, if I'm not mistaken, and then from London to Texas to Denver. So we did in fact have, you know, business class through the whole entire trip, but when we got to America, the flight was smaller, and so business class looked a little different, but it was still nice nonetheless. No complaints here. You just didn't have a gigantic plane to lay down in. But our second leg of our flight was really cool as well. But this is where it got a little tricky. And this is why I say that, you know, travel should be accessible to everybody. Travel should be something that we all feel like we can do, and something that we all dream that is possible for us. And I know that that's hard to imagine, especially when, you know, that we're worried about just paying our bills. We're worried about just getting by every day. But as we as people, especially people of color and Black people, start to envision more for ourselves and envision a life that is more equitable, exactly the same as what those in privileged positions have, then we can start to envision, you know, more opportunities for ourselves. And I say this because on that second leg of our trip, there were like 5 or 6 children in business class, and they were not children of color. I just kept thinking to myself, like, whose freaking parents can afford to not only have them in business class, but all of their children in business class as well, when I just got upgraded and this was just a concept, right? Like, it just was interesting to me because, yeah, people do this. That second flight was very crowded as well, and so all of the seats were full. Maybe folks got upgraded as well. I don't know. But it's something that you definitely want to ask for as well. Like if you're about to fly, ask, you know, are there any upgrades that you can offer? Are there free upgrades or upgrades at a certain price that you could offer? And see, it doesn't hurt to ask, but just know that if you're not getting it, somebody else is getting it. Food was amazing. Oh my gosh, the food was probably better on that second flight than it was on the first flight. We had a really amazing like mushroom soup. The breads are obviously great. I mean, who can say no to bread? And then we had like a pot roast situation. And obviously coming from India, I don't eat beef, okay? I don't eat it. But I don't think, was I given a choice? Yeah, I was given a choice. And so I thought to myself, well, you know, it would be interesting to try beef since it's being offered. And it was the first time I had beef in a while, like a couple of months or so. Yeah, I think so. I really only have beef when I'm traveling or out of India, obviously, because we're not eating beef here. That's not what we do, but it was good. I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I just enjoyed the experience as a whole. Like it was really fun. Again, it was fun to do this with my husband, and we're a handful and a half when we travel. We have a lot of fun together. So I was just so appreciative. I'm so grateful for the experience and the opportunity to be able to, one, go home, and two, do so in such a stylish and elevated way. And again, I really think that this type of experience should be something that everybody does at least once in their life. I don't know when the next time I will travel business class will be, but I definitely now know that it is a possibility and it is on my radar for future travel for sure. And I would love to take my family on trips and be able to sit in a business class seat, like with my mom or with my dad, with cousins, with everybody. Like again, if I could take you all along with me to have amazing travel experiences, I would. So, you know, let's dream together. So that is it for today's video. I feel like I was talking for a really long time, but that's what you get with story time videos. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment down below letting me know the first time you traveled by plane. How old were you and where did you go? And if you've traveled in a business class or higher seating, let me know what that experience was like for you so that we can all share in the wealth and hear your wonderful stories. And of course, if you like storytime videos, I used to make these all the time, especially when I was back in Morocco. Let me know and I can make more, and maybe I can pull Goze in for a couple of juicy storytime videos if that is something you guys want to see further from me. All right, I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Mwah.